COVID-19 hospitalizations are rising in the mountains. In some places, more than triple the number of hospitalizations from just 2 weeks ago. News 13's Anjali Patel shows us what hospitals are seeing and why one health official says he expects it to get much worse.
In June, Mission Health saw its lowest number of COVID-19 hospitalizations with maybe 5 to 10 patients. But over the past week or so, they've seen that number rise to up in the 20s. Now, it's still a far cry from the peak of nearly 140 hospitalizations they saw back in January, but it still has health officials very concerned. From 7 COVID-19 hospitalizations on July 11th to 26 as of Thursday morning. That's what the Mission Health system is seeing, and Pardee and Advent Health are also seeing rises in their facilities.
I'm concerned that we're going to see a continued rise in the numbers.
Mission Health's chief medical officer says it's not surprising this spike is coming 2 weeks after July 4th gatherings. But he says the biggest factor at play here is the Delta variant. And he says the best way to combat it is getting a shot, because the majority of the hospitalizations are in unvaccinated people. Now, state health officials are reporting nearly 4,700 breakthrough cases, which is still less than 1% of the more than 580,000 people who've tested positive since vaccinations began.
But the fact of the matter is they're still quite rare. They happen. We knew they would happen, but they're rare.
And he says he only expects hospitalizations to continue increasing as we head into the colder months. With Governor Roy Cooper lifting the mask mandate in schools soon, he's worried what this fall could bring. Just 24% of kids ages 12 through 17 are vaccinated in the state.
It's more rapid spread of infection. It's children getting sick. It's children sharing those that virus and those infections with their debilitated family members. It would be an increase in case, and it's a prolongation of the pandemic.
Now, he doesn't think we'll get back to peak numbers, with 83% of the most vulnerable population, those 65 and up, fully vaccinated in North Carolina. But the spike has him concerned and urging people to double down on COVID-19 precautions.
With the recent resurgence in cases and hospitalizations, we are extremely likely to increase our visitor restrictions and be more adherent to universal masking in every corner of our hospital moving forward.
Anjali Patel, News 13.
Over $37 million, that's the loss hundreds of Asheville food and beverage businesses reported to the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. While those businesses are finally getting much needed financial help, others are left still waiting. Investigative reporter Jennifer Emmert breaks down the numbers and the need that remains.
These calculations amount to the revenue differences businesses had in 2019 and 2020. And while it's millions in aid, it also is a revealing look at the pandemic's losses. The nation's most iconic home, Biltmore, appraised for nearly $37 million in 2017. That's also the reported combined loss of 135 Asheville food and beverage businesses to the 2020 Restaurant Revitalization Fund.
We're still struggling along. Now it's kind of a staffing issue.
Chef Katie Button's restaurants alone saw a $1.8 million impact at her flagship.
We are struggling to open our lunch services. We're only at dinner so far in our restaurants, and it's hard. It's going to take time.
The Village Wayside owner Mark Harding is grateful for the $1 million in aid. Staff shortages, despite $18 to $20 starting salaries and a new business model, still leave him short and closed 3 days a week. In all, 95 North Carolina businesses reported $1 million plus losses, 7 in Asheville, 2 in Waynesville, and 1 each in Highlands and Cherokee.
I feel grateful that we received it. Every other restaurant in our community and across this country deserves the same chance.
The Small Business Administration tells News 13 the program was oversubscribed and funding ran out.
And what we desperately need is for more funding to come through so that the other 177,000 businesses that are waiting to receive their funding get funded.
For the more than 2,500 North Carolina businesses who received help, it's an infusion that aids them and their communities.
90 to 96% of that gets funneled right back into our communities.
Katie Button's calling for another $91 billion the Independent Restaurant Coalition estimates is needed. Hopeful you'll reach out to Congress.
Congressman Patrick McHenry, Madison Cawthorn, all of those folks, we need to be picking up the phones and giving them a call.
I reached out to several of our congressional representatives. You can see their responses at WLOS.com. In Asheville, Jennifer Emmert, News 13.
New tonight, catalytic converter thefts are now impacting a local nonprofit working to make reliable cars more affordable.
The executive director of Working Wheels says this hurts people in our community who are in already a time of need. News 13's Andrew James shows us the impact of these crimes.
Kelly Porch takes pride in her car. It came to her in a time of need, and she says it changed her life.
This car is everything to me, and this program is something I believe in with everything in my soul.
With the help of Working Wheels, she got this car in 2018 for less than $700, making it possible to get to and from work and get a degree without having to rely on public transportation that she says could be spotty.
Put in the work and miracles happen, because this came out of nowhere. I didn't even know about this program.
Somebody has a car, or somebody does not have a car one day, and they come here and they have a car tomorrow.
It's a simple mission for Jamie Beasley. He's the executive director of Working Wheels, providing reliable vehicles at an affordable cost to people who need them most. But just this week, the nonprofit was hit by thieves who took catalytic converters from 4 cars.
These cars were actually the ones that we were investing in, so it hurts more in that situation.
Now families who would soon have a car are left waiting as Working Wheels makes extra repairs.
Cars that we were investing money into to fix for our program. So we've got 3 cars that are now another $500 or $600 away from being up to just where they were.
Woodfin police officers are investigating. Chief Mike Dyke says catalytic converter thefts are increasing across the area.
Easy target for someone to take and then try to get some quick money from.
They're often sold at metal scrap yards, and he says scrapyard owners need to keep an eye out for anything suspicious.
It's not a common thing for someone to come in with several catalytic converters and say that they were all their own. So we would hope that those working in those industries would kind of notice this.
Cutting down on a common crime could help change the lives of more people like Kelly Porch. Andrew James, News 13.